But several other factors were to have a key influence in shaping Revolver into the landmark album it was to become. Prior to the recording of the album, the extremely hard-working Beatles were faced with an unexpected, yet very welcome extended break in their schedule, when plans to shoot a follow-up film to Help fell through. This layoff of around 3 months, the longest in the band's career to date, enabled the members of the band to go off and explore individual interests and return to the studio rejuvenated and reinvigorated, each with something new and unique to contribute to the whole. Coupled with this was the long time allowed for the recording sessions. By this time, their contract with EMI was expiring, and the label had increasingly given latitude for the band to spend longer in the studio than previously allowed. In total, the recording sessions that made up Revolver lasted for about 3 months, something that may not seem that unusual now, but at the time was unusual. And a far cry from the one day the label had allowed them to record their debut album, Please Please Me. Having longer in the studio was inevitably to pay off with greater creativity and experimentation. The third factor that helped shape Revolver, and in some ways was the most significant, was the band's decision to give up touring, which perhaps not coincidentally coincided with the Beatles' expiring EMI contract. It was conventional wisdom of the time that bands could not survive as recording entities alone, due to the oppressive nature of recording contracts, which saw virtually all the money made from record sales go to the label. For example, the contract that the Beatles had signed with EMI in 1962 paid the Beatles only 1 cent per single sold, which was split 4 ways, and half of that for overseas sales, which was the bulk of their business. Touring was needed not only for financial reasons, but also, it was perceived, in order to keep a band fresh in the public mind. Increasingly, however, the band had come to realise the straitjacket this was placing upon them creatively, as a result of satisfying fan expectations through live performances that had little to do with music and more to do with image and spectacle. The band had already showed that they did not want to play this game when they participated in a bizarre photo shoot with photographer Robert Whittaker that ended up producing the infamous Butcher cover, the resulting images mystifying fans and critics alike. Although the band still had one more US tour to complete by the time they entered the studio to begin recording Revolver, as the sessions progressed, it was clear the band had all but abandoned the idea of producing songs that were bound by the limitations of needing to be reproduced live, or for that matter, bound by the dictates of the top 40. With the inevitable decision that the US tour would be their last, a tour which they would not attempt to play any of the material from Revolver anyway, the Beatles were free to explore and experiment in ways that were not possible in the past. Revolver would signal that in popular music, anything, any theme, any musical idea could now be realised, and in the case of the Beatles, would be.